Yeah, Harrison, just how frustrating was it to A, not have shots fall at all night long, but also just the rebounding numbers are way skewed their way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's, made or miss shots is something that we should, be focusing on. I think it's, our physicality. In the first half, we just let them, play comfortably. Started making some shots, and then as the game went on and they started feeling confident, feel like that's when, the rebounding disparity started. Obviously, they slowed the game down, which took away our fast breaks. They were methodical into getting into their sets, and we kind of let them get comfort with that. So, to me, that's where the game we lost the fight in that game.
Where did you see some of that rebounding disparity come from?
I mean, obviously, their bigs were crashing, but their smalls as well. They create a lot of mismatches, and rebounding has been something that we've been talking about. Although we've been winning some games, we've been giving up a lot of offensive rebounds. So tonight was one of those games where it came back to bite us.
In a game like that where, you come off a game where you're just scorching, shooting as well as you guys did, so many missed opportunities and wide open shots, is that frustrating for you guys, or does it feel like, you kind of take some solace out of that because it kind of balances itself out a little bit?
No, I mean, last game, was an anomaly. I mean, there's a reason that it was a franchise record for threes. I mean, it doesn't happen too often. So, we just have to, have the poise and know that, we're not going to come out and shoot 50% from three and drop in 22 threes on a nightly basis. Most nights, more or less, will look more like tonight. So how do we figure out ways to go and get wins? How do we get ways, when we get to the bonus with 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes and a quarter, those are opportunities where, we need to start, finding contact. We need to start looking at the rim, as opposed to, shooting jump shots.
Harrison, last year, if you guys would have shot less than 37% from the floor and got dominated on the glass like that, you would have been blown out. But do you see the sign of growth that it was a three-point game, you had a shot to tie it at the end, even though things went poorly most of the night?
Well, I mean, I think we found our compete there in the second half. But at that point, we already kind of let people get into rhythm. At the beginning of a game, I think that's really where you have to make your mark. And for most of this season, I think we've done a good job of starting games with the right compete level, the right physicality. But tonight, especially with a team like this, where they do play, two bigs, they have bigger guards that get in there and crash and rebound, letting them kind of get a rhythm early, really hurt us.
Harrison, you 10 games in. What do you like about this team? What are you encouraged about, and what are you concerned about after 10 games?
That's a lot of questions. I think for us, we know that we can be a good team, and I think the difference between us being a good team and us being a non-playoff team is our consistency. And I think we've, throughout the first, what are we now, 5-5, throughout the first 10 games, I think more so than not, we've been more consistent this year with what we're trying to do and our energy. But I think taking that next step is those details, right? Those 2 to 3 minute stretches that really decide games in that second half. How tight are we going to be? And it's not coming down to, like I said, made or missed shots. It's an offensive rebound. It's a miscommunication in a pick and roll. It's an untimely turnover where they get a fast break layup. Those are the types of things where we just have to just be a little sharper, when we're playing these playoff teams, to get over that hump of being a team that's a little bit under 500 to a team that's over 500.
Harrison, going back to what you had just said before about their Indiana's style of play. Of course, they got their two bigs, Turner and Sabonis, and they're not really overly big team. I mean, a lot of 6'6", 6'7" players, but the defense. How can you describe how they were playing the defense on you guys? Because Fox and Halliburton, they only got like 3 assists apiece, but it was their defense that really worked out for them. But what were they doing on the floor to disrupt what you got?
I mean, look, I play for Coach Carlisle. I mean, they're gonna be solid in their stuff. They're gonna make you work. But the thing that we have to get to as a group is when we're playing good teams, especially with shot blocking bigs and just longer wings, we have to get the ball moving side to side. That's when we're going to get our best possessions. Yes, we can call play calls and things like that, but against good teams, against playoff teams, you have to move the ball side to side. You have to just play out of out of random ball movement, can't be scripted. And that's how we're going to get our easy shots. So I think for us, that's our next, progression is, when we're playing these teams like this, who, if we simply just call our plays, can do a good job of stopping those, what's that next step?
Harrison, first of all, you've been a bright spot for the first 10 games of the King season, and I know the team and the fans appreciate that. My question is, you said earlier that when we get teams in foul trouble, we should go try to get a foul, whatever. Is that something that the coach tell you to do, or something that the players should know instinctively that that's something that they should do when they get a team in foul trouble and take advantage of it?
No, I mean, that's something that we as players, you have to recognize and do instinctively. I mean, when we play, top teams in this league, if we put a team in the bonus with 8 minutes, I mean, they're going to be living at the free throw line. They're going to try to do everything they can to try to get us into foul trouble, right? We've seen that time and time again. So, in these instances, although we do shoot a lot of jump shots, where we do get into the bonus, like I said, with 5, 6, 7 minutes left in the quarter, we have to just change our mindset. We can always get, catch and shoot threes, dribble up threes. And I'm not saying that we're not going to shoot those, but it's that conscious effort of attacking the rim. Clearly, somebody's fouling on the floor, right? So there may be foul trouble issues. There may be opportunities where we can, create contact and put pressure on the official to get a foul. But, us kind of getting into the bonus with that much time and only shooting 2 free throws, that's a missed opportunity when we're not getting fast break baskets.
All right, we'll do the last question on Zoom, Harrison. Matt George.
Hey, Harrison. Typically, we only hear media and reporters and things like that talk about this, but the difference between a matinee performance, an earlier start, and a regular scheduled game, is it that significant from a player's standpoint to where slow starts like this seem to happen more often than not for at least one team?
I mean, me personally, I'm not a fan of the earlier games. I love the 7:30 games, but I don't think that's any excuse for us not to come out and play. I mean, you have 48 minutes to play, so I don't think that's any excuse for us not to be able to, show up and get the job done. And that is not an excuse tonight for why we didn't start the game with the right, mentality.